get our girls.
Bring them home.
So, it is true that last night's episode of Black Lightning was the series premiere, but it was just so good and so packed with events. Now, Black Lightning is sort of presenting itself as the Luke Cage of the Arrowverse, or at least the CW universe. It all depends on how long it's going to take them before they decide to announce it is part of the Arrowverse. But Black Lightning is about a lot of things. It's about morals, it's about racism, it's about family, it is about how some people find themselves being a-holes so easily, and about how some others, no matter how they try not to, find themselves forced into a world of violence, and they do all of that just to make sure that they keep themselves and their families safe. Anyway though, with Black Lightning being born again, the series had a very powerful start. I just loved it. So welcome back everyone to yet another one of my videos and my review of the series premiere of Black Lightning. So as per the usual these days with all my videos, I'm kinda sick, I'm kinda losing my voice, and for some reason I think I have to apologize for this at the beginning of each video. So here goes my apology. Now if this happens to be your first time visiting my channel or watching one of my videos, just make sure you drop it a like. Now if you decide to take your relationship with this video to the next level, you can always subscribe as well. But anyway, let's not waste any more time with these introductions and let's talk more Black Lightning. So watching Black Lightning, I don't think you should watch it as this other superhero series or think of it that way. I mean, it does have a lot of potential to be a lot more than that. As a matter of fact, it is already about a lot more. I mean, it's about a man who just can't take it anymore. And it's not just about corruption or crime, but it's about racism and injustice. And the way this premiere kind of played out, it is what the CW should be doing with all these other DC TV series. At the least, it is gonna remain that way up until the point where it kinda gets plagued with all those love triangles and love rectangles that the CW is so good at shoving in our face and making us hate. We've just gotta wait for this one Tuesday night when someone is sitting in front of their TV watching Black Lightning and then they decide to get on Twitter and start shipping, build a base on Twitter or on Facebook for that relationship, whatever it's gonna be, and then we could expect at that point for the series to end up becoming part of the CW. Like for real, not just part of a lineup where it doesn't belong. But yes, Jefferson Pierce is a metahuman and he has powers, and I'm gonna be talking about that a lot over here. But powers or not, keep pushing a man like him to the edge and he's not gonna react so well. And there is nothing crappier or shittier to push a man like him to said edge than injustice in its shittiest forms. And this is how it basically all starts. This is how he's resurrected or reborn. The first time we sort of see his eyes glow with this lightning force is when he's faced with this a-hole of a racist cop. But this is not really the first time that Jefferson Pierce has been Black Lightning. I mean, he's being resurrected, just like the title of the episode kinda suggests. But the reason he's put down this mantle for so long, only to pick it up now, is because it kinda created a rift between him and his wife. And that rift led to their divorce, and now he's kinda trying to reconcile and make it all work again. So, we see him as the school principal, just like he is in the comics, and a good one at that. But Jefferson Pierce has two daughters who seem to love getting into trouble. Now the first one is the good one, but the second one is the rebellious teenage type. And of course being that one, Jennifer starts off as annoying as hell. But well, the good one happens to be rebellious as well. Only this one is kinda politically rebellious. But throughout the events of this premiere, Jefferson is just resistant to going back to being Black Lightning. And as I mentioned earlier, this resistance is basically the product of a possibility that he kinda sees looming in the horizon of a reconciliation with the mother of his children and his ex-wife Lynn. But even though he kinda tries so hard, nothing could get him back to being Black Lightning than knowing that his daughters have been put in harm's way. So number 1, meet Peter Gambi, who just like in the comics is a friend of Jefferson Pierce and a tailor. But the thing about Peter Gambi in the comics is he's actually the one who killed Alvin Pierce, Jefferson Pierce's father. He still does kind of end up in the comics being to Pierce what Alfred Pennyworth is to Batman. But nonetheless, that's all after he repents, gets reformed, and feels all this guilt weighing over his shoulders for his criminal past. Now I did like the look they gave to James Remar in order to portray Peter Gambi. So not only does he look similar to his character in the comics, but the way he looks kinda gives you this Gary Oldman, James Gordon, Dark Knight trilogy feel to it. So yeah, when it comes to Peter Gambi, so far, so good. Number 2, let's talk Inspector Henderson. So in the comics, Inspector William Henderson started as a supporting character on the pages of Superman, but because the events of Black Lightning take place in Metropolis, he ended up as a supporting character as well on the pages of Black Lightning. He's been introduced in the comics in different capacities, at some point being the commissioner of the Metropolis Police. But as of 2009, he's been reintroduced on the pages of Supergirl as an African-American detective heading the Metropolis Meta-Human Crimes Division. Now, as far as the comics go, he airs on the side of good. He's one of the good guys. So for the time being, we should just expect he's that on the series as well, even though that might change. Number 3, let's talk about the villain of the season, who clearly seems to be Tobias Whale. Now, in the same manner that has been portrayed on this premiere, Tobias Whale was the reason that Jefferson Pierce turned into Black Lightning. And while he is a big shot criminal in Metropolis and the head of the 100, he's not really the head of the 100. The 100 is sort of a crime syndicate or a crime organization that started in the 1400s and that branches all over the world. And that woman that we see briefly, watching the television and asking Tobias to come check it out, and then going out and holding a gun to Lala and then bringing him back to meet Tobias, that woman is Cyanide. And Cyanide in the comics is Tobias's bodyguard and a cold-blooded killer. She is no meta-human, so she has no abilities, but she's got herself a gun that fires either poison capsules, stun capsules, or your usual bullets. She's also got this whip that she basically uses to electrocute her enemies. Number 4. So here we are about to speak of every member of the Pierce family, and starting with his wife, Lynn Pierce. When she was first introduced in the comics, they were actually divorced, but without children. Now that was later on kind of retconned, removing the divorce completely from this equation and granting them their daughter Anissa. Now in that retcon of the story as well, they do end up getting divorced over his life as a superhero, but only after they end up having the second daughter Jennifer. Number 5. So meet Jennifer Pierce, the younger daughter of Lynn and Jefferson Pierce. Now while we might have seen her sister Anissa kinda start to get her powers, or more like realize that she has powers, Jennifer as well does have powers of her own. Now Jennifer as well, just as portrayed on the premiere, does have a lot of strength to her name, but she also does have heightened intellect, great marksmanship skills, and a great deal of stamina. But the real deal when it comes to her powers are all about her ability to absorb electricity and discharge it. But besides those two, she could basically fly by charging her lower body with electricity. But number 6. So Anissa Pierce is kinda different when it comes to her powers. She is still a meta-human, but unlike her father and her sister, her powers have nothing to do with electricity. So Anissa, who's also known as Thunder, has this ability to manipulate her body density. And she basically does that the most with her fists and feet, thus being able to deal deadly blows to her enemies. And that means that she kinda has superhuman strength that allows her to create massive shockwaves whenever she stomps on the ground. But finally though, number 7, let's talk the hero of the series, Black Lightning or Jefferson Pierce. Now in the comics, Black Lightning is known as the protector of the Suicide Slum, this part of Metropolis that is infested with all this insane crime. And the biggest antagonist to his character in the comics is actually Tobias Whale, who has tried over and over again in the comics to get rid of Black Lightning. He's also been a member of the Justice League at some point in the comics. But speaking of his powers, I'm not going to talk about the stamina, the strength, and all that good stuff, because that is basically a staple of every superhero on TV. But speaking of the real deal of his abilities, he basically has superhuman speed, and by superhuman speed I mean he can move at the speed of light. I'm not sure though the show is gonna go with that ability. I mean, he's part of the CW, and the CW already has the Flash. Besides, if Black Lightning is ever planned to join all these crossovers, it's gonna be kind of redundant to have two speedsters on the same crossover. But in the same manner, and using the same mechanic that I spoke of earlier when it comes to Jennifer, he can also fly. He can also do a lot more with electricity than his daughter. I mean, he does have this electrical form of his, where he just transforms into this pure electrical energy. Now, as noticed on last night's premiere, the angrier Black Lightning is, the more powerful he is. But here's the ability that goes with the name. Jefferson Pierce has the ability to create and manipulate Black Lightning. And Black Lightning is basically this mystical dark electricity that is way stronger than normal lightning. Now I'm going to be talking more about these characters on future videos. I'm going to be talking more about the events themselves. I mean, I'm so excited about this series. It's really amazing. And just like Luke Cage kinda did a little bit on Netflix, it kinda delves deeper into real social issues, and that I kinda like. I mean, I didn't expect this from the Arrowverse or from the CW, but this is really good TV. That being said though, my work here is done, so let me know what you thought of the premiere of Black Lightning. Let me know as well if you want me to do more of these videos on the series over the course of the weeks to come. And remember, it would be much appreciated if you drop this video a like if you did like its content. And if that were to be the case, make sure you subscribe and enable notifications for my future videos. Now you could also find me on Twitter, Facebook, or Discord by following the links in the description down below or in the end screen to this video. So if you ever want to spark a conversation on any of these series that you do like and I do review, just hit me up and let's do that. Until I see you next time though, thank you all for tuning in and have a great day.